Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another royal news video. So the CBS interview did air on Sunday. We had a whole 9 minutes and 14 seconds of badly edited footage, which seemed to centre around Meghan and another attack on the royal family, or at least some not so thinly veiled threats. Yes, it would seem that even Meghan and Harry's own Archewell initiatives are not safe from Mimi. Meghan rocks up at the very beginning of the interview wearing some giant-sized pants, which are way too big for her petite frame, her husband trailing along behind her, looking at the floor, and then she gave out lots of hugs. Meghan likes to show she is kind and compassionate by giving everybody that nice big body squidge. Now, in the first few minutes of the interview, Jane Pauley, the interviewer, does like to point out the fact that Meghan knows all about bullying from her own experiences, and Harry is also no stranger to grief. So straight away, you know that this initiative, which is meant to help parents that are grieving the loss of their child or have concerns about their child being safe online, it's quite clearly going to be the Meghan and Harry show yet again. Before we get on to the actual interview, let's talk about Meghan and Harry from a parenting standpoint. Let's talk about them, how they talk about their child and the cruelty that was inflicted on them as children. Two of the most privileged people with regards to their childhood complained about how tough it was. Meghan was forced to work at 14 to make ends meet and put food on the table, her only treat being a sizzler salad occasionally. Harry, a prince growing up in palaces with servants and nannies, every toy and advantage that money can buy in life, he was cruelly suffering throughout his childhood because he was never given hugs by his cold father or taken on bike rides. The suffering that Harry and Meghan endured in their childhood is a really tough one for most of us to understand or, in fact, believe. Now, when you think of how Harry and Meghan treat their parents now that they are adults, well, that's a whole different ballgame in itself. Thomas Markle has begged and pleaded on TV and in interviews multiple times for his daughter just to see him, just to talk to him. Ghosting is what she has done to him. She cut him off. It is emotional abuse. It is one of the cruelest things that you can do to someone, especially if it is done intentionally. Thomas Markle's crime that deserved such foul treatment from his daughter that he loved and adored her entire life and gave her every advantage that he could. Well, he set up a few paparazzi photographs, something that his daughter and his son-in-law do all the time. And not only has she cruelly ghosted her father, she allowed her 5 friends to publicly slate him using People magazine, the Dear Daddy letter. She made her father out to be a villain, something that her toxic fan base have jumped all over. I dread to think the number of death threats that Thomas Markle has received. Now, Harry, he is seemingly more obsessed with his mother now, despite it being the 27th anniversary of her passing later this month. He communes with her through Meghan and is now reportedly fighting court battles in her honour and believes that she is helping him from the other side. Now, as for the king, Harry's dad, who is alive, who is fighting his own cancer battle, Harry hasn't stopped waging war on his father and inflicting pain on his father. Despite the last 5 years worth of narratives that Harry and Meghan have spun, the royal family welcomed Meghan into their family at lightning speed. They gave her privileges that they did not give Catherine for many, many years. Meghan was welcomed with open arms and they bent over backwards to make her feel welcome. The stress and pressure that Harry has put on his father in recent years is insane. From attacking the family when Philip was dying on TV for a paycheck from Oprah, to continue to bully and mistreat the Queen throughout her grief up until weeks before she died. These were Charles's parents. Harry has attacked his brother and his sister-in-law, who are the future king and queen. He has attacked Camilla, Charles's wife, and tried to paint her out to be this evil villain. He's actively trying to ruin his own father's reign and damage Commonwealth relations. He's used his own children as emotional weapons, trying to guilt trip his father into getting his own way. All of this has been happening whilst the king is undergoing his own cancer battle and he's in his mid-70s. Most normal children would want their parents who are going through something similar to remain as stress-free as possible. But Harry, every so many weeks, is making threats, making digs and swipes, or just generally stirring up trouble. Now let's go on to Harry and Meghan as being parents. Okay, yes, I do believe that they have 2 children. I do believe this because I refuse to believe that the royal family would be complicit in such a massive lie and a cover-up. However, there are, of course, lots of red flags surrounding the story of the children, the birth, but these are games that Harry and Meghan have willingly played with the media and with the public. If anything, Harry and Meghan have deliberately stirred up speculation to do with their children and the fact that they are never seen. Now, this is almost a little bit hypocritical, talking at parents, saying that parents need to be first responders now. They need to be aware of where their children are. Do Harry and Meghan know where their children are half the time when they're going to concerts, when they are going to film premieres? I mean, most people would take a cinema date down the road. I mean, they are in California. No, they fly to Jamaica. Harry and Meghan, between the 2 of them, they're not just dining out with friends down the road at a local restaurant. No, they're driving 4 or 5 hours away for a photo opportunity outside a celebrity hotspot. Harry's off playing polo, Meghan's out dining with friends. They are always doing something and their children are never with them. One of the things that always gets me is the Invictus Games. Why do they not take their children with them? They don't have to parade their children on camera. Have them at the hotel with the nannies that we clearly know are looking after them. At least then when they finish their normal day, they can then quite happily tuck their children in at night or say, read them a book before bed like most normal parents do. Harry doesn't even take the children to watch him play polo, which by far, apart from obviously when they have the big competitions, it's generally a family affair with lots of children running about. It's odd when you think that Nacho and his wife take their children. Why on earth wouldn't they at least take Archie, who's old enough to be charging around with the other children? On the very few occasions that those children have been photographed, they look absolutely terrified. They don't look like happy, normal children running around and smiling. But if they're kept indoors all the time and just generally away from the general populace, it's hardly surprising. Harry's gone to great lengths to try and tell the public how awful his childhood was, how cold and unloving that his upbringing was. He seems to have forgotten that sort of childhood pain that he is going to be inflicting on his own children that I'm sure often ask, where are mummy and daddy? So let's move away from the parenting side of this initiative they've launched. Let's talk about bullying, something that Harry and Meghan are very, very good at. I think it's clearly obvious that Meghan has bullied staff. I believe those stories all to be true. There was a palace investigation, which the palace decided not to release. I believe they did that to protect the identity of the staff that had put in serious complaints. It's clear that so many people were ready to speak out against Meghan in one of the many court cases that have gone on. The number of staff that have left their employment services, even since they've moved on from the royal family and at Archewell, it's a revolving door of people quitting after a matter of months. That alone should tell you that they're not nice people to work for. Remember, Harry and Meghan like to sue at the drop of a hat, yet they have never ever once gone after Valentine Lowe that broke the bullying story or the accusations that were in Tom Bower. Now, some have said that Meghan got too high and mighty when she became a member of the royal family, like they're making excuses for her. But apparently, according to Tom Bower, she was just as vile when she worked on the Reitmans ads. And they had said, several people that had worked with her had said that they would never work with her again. There was also a videographer who also spoke out about her awful behaviour. When she has the camera on her, she's delightful. When the camera is not on her, she is nothing more than a bully and a mean girl. And I think that we have seen lots of snippets where Meghan's mask has slipped to believe this. Let's go on to Catherine. We know it was Meghan that made Catherine cry. Meghan was quite actually unkind, and when Catherine got emotional, she has, and Harry has clarified this, mentioned the fact that she called Catherine suffering from baby brains and discussed her baby hormones, which then led to an argument with Prince William wagging his finger at Meghan, defending his wife. What about Spare, where he retells the story of how he was nasty and unkind to a school matron called Pat at his prep school, where he mocked her disabilities and her looks? Where was his compassion then? Harry didn't need to retell this story for the public, but he did, even going as far to say that she was small, mousy, frazzled, and her hair fell greasily into her always tired eyes. How utterly vile to describe someone that was working at his school. Too many years later, to say that for the public to read it in Spare. Can you imagine if Pat's still alive, how she felt when that got brought up and publicised, what her family must feel like? Completely vile and unnecessary of Harry. But sure, Harry's all about kindness and compassion. And seeing as this new initiative, the Parents Network, is all to do with children being bullied online, let's talk about the stories that surfaced that Meghan actually bullied her own 3-year-old niece. Princess Charlotte definitely looked frightened looking past Meghan in the church. Princess Charlotte's dress was a complete and utter mess. And Ivy, Meghan's goddaughter, who she has ghosted alongside Ivy's mother, Jessica Mulroney, after their fallout, she had different hair to the rest of the bridesmaids. It was all to be centered around that Meghan and Jessica were apparently also favoring Ivy and making it very clear that she was better than Princess Charlotte. These are grown women that were apparently ganging up on a little girl, upsetting her, and then of course in turn upsetting the Princess of Wales. Now let's move away from the fact that Harry and Meghan, as we know, are the biggest hypocrites on the planet, obviously talking about the parenting and then talking about bullying, considering how that they have treated others and continue to do so. Now, to bring the viewer into the moment, which is where we were really heading with this interview, Jane mentions the fact that Meghan appeared on Oprah.
Meghan Markle has been there, as she told Oprah Winfrey in 2021.
You had an experience that connects you to these families. And I see you touch your husband's hand in just the way I knew that you would be looking after each other. The connection that you have with people is they know you had suffered too, personally, contemplating killing yourself.
When you've been through any level of pain or trauma, I believe part of our healing journey, certainly part of mine, is being able to be really open about it. I would never want someone else to feel that way. And I would never want someone else to be making those sort of plans. And I would never want someone else to not be believed. So if me voicing what I have overcome will save someone or asks or encourage someone in their life to really genuinely check in on them, and not assume that the appearance is good so everything's okay, then that's worth it. I'll take a hit for that.
Everything about their reactions in that segment of the interview is off for me. Meghan's facial features, the fact that she places her hand on Harry's knee, he's completely unresponsive to it. This would have been a night, possibly one of the worst nights in their lives, where Meghan has just told her husband, I'd want to take my own life and that of our unborn child. Harry, as we know, had a therapist on speed dial, did absolutely nothing about it, and instead took his wife to Cirque du Soleil. Now, clearly something had gone down that night, because Harry did in fact look traumatised, whereas Meghan looked very happy with herself throughout the evening. I do believe that she did tell Harry that she wanted to take her own life. I do believe that she told him exactly how she was going to do it. I believe that Meghan also told Harry that she wasn't going to do it because he has already lost his mother. I believe that she did it because it was emotional manipulation to get him to do whatever it was that she was demanding that he did. Meghan retelling this moment, she again has that duper's delight and a very, very smug face, and Harry again just very despondent. It was a very strange reaction from both of them given the subject matter and the fact that this is meant to be about the Parents Network, and they've just brought up something huge. The last time that was brought up was on Oprah.
I can see you're uncomfortable with my even even going there? Do you?
I understand why you are, though. I wasn't expecting it, but I understand why you are, because there is a through line, I think. And
Meghan saying she wasn't expecting it. Yes, you were. Everybody knows you were. Everybody knows that Harry and Meghan will only do interviews where they do not get asked any hard-hitting questions. She knew that this was going to be brought up because it would have all been pre-arranged. This CBS interview was meant to be about the launch of the Parent Project, their very own initiative, which would work to bring parents together who are grieving the loss of their child or have concerns with their child's online safety. And yet here we are, Meghan is reminding the world of the trauma that she suffered for her 72 days of being in the royal family, or rather being a working royal. 72 days in 2 years.
I would never want someone else to feel that way. And I would never want someone else to be making those sort of plans. And I would never want someone else to not be believed.
I wouldn't want anyone else making those plans. People that are in that mental state generally aren't making plans exactly. It was a very, very weird choice of wording from her.
If me voicing what I have overcome will save someone, or asks or encourage someone in their life to really genuinely check in on them and not assume that the appearance is good so everything's okay, then that's worth it. I'll take a hit for that.
What exactly has Meghan overcome? I tell you what, 5 years later, all of these interviews, podcasts, books, all sorts, I really still don't understand what traumas truly happened to Meghan. What did she endure? What did she overcome? Because the silly little stories we've heard, I think I endured more when I was in middle school. Now, obviously, the CBS interview isn't just about Harry and Meghan, and you do hear some of the short stories from the parents that have gone through the loss of a child. It is gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching. It truly is unimaginable. No parent should ever have to bury their child. But for Meghan, trying to get people to relate to any of what she went through, to see some sort of correlation between the traumatic time of her being made a duchess, marrying a prince, gifted millions in clothes, a multi-million-pound wedding, jewels, holidays galore, and then being a parent whose child has taken their own life due to online bullying. Meghan had a choice of being an adult, what she sees and what she doesn't see. I'm sorry, I say this from someone that is on the internet. I get the most vile stuff said about me, written about me. I've got YouTubers doing YouTube videos about me that say all sorts of horrible things. I don't watch it, I don't read it, I don't care. That's something that as an adult I can do. There is something with children where parents do need to have more control. Not Harry talking about this first responding bollocks. Control what your children see on the internet if they are of that younger age, and also teach your children when they get older, teach them to walk away from the laptop, slam the phone down, just ignore it. These are life skills that will help your children as they grow older. And I wish that I had possibly more guidance, because I was of the generation that the internet only came out when I was a teenager, so I didn't have all of these people that could help me that were older than me. We kind of all went through that mess together. So of course I did read up on this parent network and what it actually entails, and I'm going to be completely honest here. It's little more than a chat room for parents. That's what I am taking from this. It's a forum, it's a place for people to go, like a Facebook group, a WhatsApp group for parents to join. Now, big questions I've got here is who is going to police it? Now, in all seriousness, who's going to check for the online safety of the people that join it? How would they stop trolls or people that are just simply joining it? They could be lying about their own child loss. How would they keep the people, some of them parents, some of which are going to be vulnerable, especially if they've recently lost a child themselves? How are they going to stop them from being harassed or targeted, or worse, conned out of money by people that join this so-called chat room, their parenting network? And that's the problem with Harry and Meghan. It's just more word salads. If you look through the lens as a parent, there's no way to see that any other way than to try to find a solution. What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? Seriously, read it back to yourself or try and get it to make sense in your own head, because it doesn't to me.
Our kids are young, they're 3 and 5. They're amazing. But all you want to do as parents is protect them. And so as we can see what's happening in the online space, we know that there's a lot of work to be done there, and we're just happy to be able to be a part of
Well, you
change
hope
for
that
good.
when you're
A change for good. Great! It's another glossy slogan like Meghan sitting there in a creepy glossy Catherine wig. They can start up hashtags as much as they like, but they don't mean zip in the real world. We're happy to be part of a change for good. What does that actually entail? What are you going to do to make the changes for good? As per usual with these two, there is no clear direction of what they are trying to achieve. How would they work together to make social media safer? Who are going to be the professionals that are involved? Who are going to be advising the parents that come into this forum that are maybe suffering grief and loss themselves? I certainly hope it's not going to be better up, because let's be honest, anyone can become a life coach. It does not make you a qualified therapist. These parents will need actual, educated, qualified therapists that can deal with this level of grief. Now, as for Meghan, we're not just reminding the world of the traumas that she went through in her 72 days as being a working royal. Meghan makes it very clear that she's not quite done yet.
When you've been through any level of pain or trauma, I believe part of our healing journey, certainly part of mine, is being able to be really open about it. And I haven't really scraped the surface on my experience.
To say that she's barely scraped the surface is nothing more than another threat, which is all too similar to the one that we read and heard in the Cut magazine weeks before Queen Elizabeth II died. Meghan said, "I can talk about my whole experience and make a choice not to. I have a lot to say until I don't. Do you like that? As they say, the silent part is still part of the song." Let's be honest, silence is genuinely not one of Meghan's strong points. It's very clearly obvious that she is threatening to launch some sort of new attacks on the royal family. Something is going on behind the scenes, hence that smug duper's delight grin on her face. Remember, Harry said he had enough for Spare 2.0. Penguin publishers will want their pound of flesh because the big multi-million-pound deal that they agreed to pay Harry and Meghan was for 4 books. My gut feeling about this is Meghan has just used her own parenting, her own Archewell initiative to relaunch a thinly veiled threat towards the royal family. I believe that Harry and Meghan are in financial troubles if they want to keep living the lifestyle that they have. The deals are drying up. People aren't interested in them anymore. People are not willing to have them on their sofas. People don't want these style of interviews, mainly because Harry and Meghan, it's just one disaster to the next, entirely of their own making. They have become a worldwide laughingstock, again, of their own making. And of course, with all of the lies they told Oprah, and the fact that Oprah's really distanced herself from them, the fact that those receipts never ever made it into the mainstream has proven that Meghan has been known for perhaps not telling the full truth, or perhaps the truth at all. And obviously Harry is exactly the same. So what's the biggest payload that they've ever had? Playing victims and trashing the royal family. So mark my words, I think give it 6 months, maybe less, we'll start hearing rumblings that Meghan is in fact putting pen to paper, and we will no doubt have Meghan's biography released unto the masses by either this Christmas or next. Watch this space. So guys, that's it for me on this video. I will be back with you really soon. Take care for now. Bye.